up, y'all? It's your boy Sovereign. We back out here mobbing. Sorry for the wait, had some extracurricular things to take care of, but it's here. Episode 3 of the series is here. Again, I'm sorry for the wait, but I finally was able to get this video uploaded. So, going off the last thing and off the poll, we were trying to figure out what gauge we were going to have. A couple of you guys on the poll said boost, a couple said, or actually I think everyone who voted on the poll said boost, which is technically correct. However, you see what's going on here. So, we got the Innovate Motorsports SCG-1. This is a combination wideband boost controller, boost gauge. It's actually a 3-in-1. See, it shows boost there. You can cycle through. I chose the white faceplate on the black bezel. I think that looks the best there. I really like that sort of retro look. We have it into the 3D printed defrost vent cubby hole that I got off of eBay. And so this video is just the installation of the AFR and how I routed just the AFR. Since I'm not boosted yet, obviously there are no boost lines to connect to use the boost functions of that gauge yet. So this is just going to be an AFR video. Obviously I'll circle back around once the turbo build is farther along in process. Once I do have the exhaust on and the turbo set up, because I'm going to have to reroute the AFR anyway. But at that point I'll take this guy out and get all the boost connections going and the solenoid and all of that good stuff. So this is just going to be AFR, and we're going to go ahead and take you through the process of how I routed everything, how I wired everything. This will be my first time dealing with clips getting put together and edited together, so bear with me, guys. Like I said, it's all part of the journey, good, bad, and ugly, and we're going to get better. But yeah, for now I will stop yapping about random overview nonsense, and we'll go ahead and get into the install on this on the AFR portion of this gauge. Let's get it. Alright guys, so like I said, I'm just doing the AFR portion of the gauge for now. So it's going to be really simple. I've already run the wires back behind the pod and back behind the vent area. It's really simple. It's going to come out somewhere between here and here. Let me get the camera out. Zoom in, you see where the wire is coming out there. But then it's just a straight shot down under this stripping, and then basically it comes through here, have it turn here, and then just basically running it behind the pedals into this grommet. It's 4 bolts there. You just undo it, run the wire in there, and it actually comes out right on the ground in the engine bay. Just make sure it's away from anything hot, and then you can, I'm just going to run it back to my factory downstream bung to keep it simple. It's going to be a more complicated setup when I put the turbo in, because that's going to have to be back near the rear where the tailpipe is, and I'll have to relocate everything, extend the harness, and a lot of other stuff that's not going to be fun. But really basic routing on this. So I just wanted to make sure I got the footage on that for you guys really quickly, but that part will be easy. And then we're going to wire into the, I have some add a circuit coming. We're gonna get in here. I don't know if I can get a focus on that, but into that fuse box basically. Tap into the cigarette lighter with the add a circuit, and then ground out to one of those ground points on that grommet from earlier. Let's see. There we go. So yeah, it's gonna ground to one of those, and that's gonna go ahead and power the unit. I'm not gonna use the extra stuff like the dimmer and all of that. It's just going to be a really simple setup for this for now. Alright guys, and once you have the AFR cable run through down here through that grommet on the inside, it's going to come out around here. If you have defowlers on your test pipes and or catalytic, well, I don't know why you would have them on your cats, you don't need them, but on your test pipes, you do have to remove these to get an accurate reading from the AFR gauge. Don't make the mistake that I did and try to waste all your time trying to remove this one, because you have no clearance and you will have to waste time trying to take the whole test pipe out. Excuse me, which ain't nobody got time for that. I already wasted too much time trying to remove it to do this. Just use the passenger side. because if you see, you have enough room to turn that, 360 degrees. You have the clearance once you unplug the sensor, and you can just take that defouler out. So what I'm gonna do is run this across with the factory, loom, run across there, make sure it's, not touching anything hot. And we're gonna plug that sensor over where this downstream on the passenger side is, because again, we have the clearance we need to remove this defouler, so that way we can plug the new sensor, the wideband sensor, straight into the bung. You do not want to plug it into the defouler. It's going to skew your readings and they won't be accurate. So just a quick note on that as well. So remember what I said about having clearance for that shit? It would appear I was incorrect, but we may have a better chance on this side than on the driver's side. If I undo this half of the test pipe and then wedge it downwards with a pry bar carefully, I should get just enough clearance. I also might need to remove this heat shield. You see there's a couple bolts that hold it in. Oh, come on, there's one there, one up here, come on, right there, and then there's a third one. I'm not sure if I'll be able to see. Yeah, right there. I'll see if I can remove those and bend this a little bit downward to get the rest of that clearance, but we'll definitely have a better chance on this side than on the other side. But yeah, this is tedious as hell, but the test pipe's still in the car. But stay tuned. Alright guys, update for you, because again, I did run into clearance issues. But if you take this heat shield off, and you do still need to apply some leverage to the pipe, with a pry bar or something similar, but I was able to get just enough clearance to take off that defouler. So if you do find yourself in that position, just take the heat shield off, give it a little push it down with a little leverage, and then you'll be good. So I'm gonna go back up on the car, or up to the car, and start wiring this in, because we do have to test the sensor with it unplugged or not screwed in first, so it can be properly calibrated. But yeah, I just wanted to make sure I documented that roadblock, if you have those long defowlers, and just how to give yourself enough room to go ahead and unscrew those, because you do need a direct screw in to get those accurate readings. Alright guys, just want to show you the routing real quick on securing the AFR cable excuse me, against keeping it away from anything hot. So coming out of that grommet, we just went ahead and secured to this line here. It's leading to the clutch line. Went ahead and just secured it to the clutch line here. It's the easiest way to do it. I will probably go back and get some heat wrap to put over this area, just to ensure that no heat fries it or anything, but it is not going to be actively touching anything that's hot. So we just zip tie in here, kind of like factory, really. Zip ties. Because see, this is where the factory O2 cables run. And then you have it coming out here, and obviously it's going to get plugged in right there. So, we got it all zip tied there. And you'll see, when you go down to do it yourself, maybe there are some areas that'll make a little more sense to put zip ties. I just did what looked like made the most sense to keep it away from any super hot components. Definitely don't want it touching the test pipe, because that'll easily fry it. But we got it away from anything that's hot, and so we should be good. Alright guys, we're back on top of the car, somewhat, because we're still kind of on the ground, but not. Anyway, it's time for the fun part, wiring. I'm going to keep it simple and just do power and ground. Like I said, we're not going to do the dimmer. I'm not connecting this to any other, Innovate Motorsports products. We're not doing ECU logging or any of that fancy stuff. So it's going to be real simple. Red wire and black wire, power and ground. Like I said, I'm going to be using the add a circuit fuses. You see how they have it here. It's kind of hard to see through the plastic, but you see they have a slot for 2 fuses. So you put your normal one there and your new 5 amp fuse to keep, you know, everything kosher. So that's not going to be too long to run. I may just be able to get away with using an extension or using one of these extensions by itself. I'm not sure yet because I got to run it back to that kick panel. But if it's not enough, I got some 22 gauge wire to go ahead and extend it out where I need it, because I will need to extend the ground all the way over to a ground on this grommet. So that's definitely not going to be long enough as is, so I'm going to extend that. And then we got the rings here. I'm going to attach this to the end of the ground wire so I can attach it to an area on that grommet we just showed. And then of course we have the connectors here for the extended wires. These red ones are supposed to be good, I think, for 22 to 16 gauge, so we should be good to go. But we'll go ahead and update once that's all in, and then we'll run a test of the O2 sensor, make sure it's working before screwing it into the test pipe. All right guys, and here's how it looks at the end of everything. There's the ground right there, and the attached to that nut on the grommet. Got everything hidden back behind this carpet, so you know you want to try to keep it OEM plus if you can. And then of course we got the power wire going in there to the fuse box with that added circuit. And I filmed this in the future, so at this point in time I have already tested everything, but obviously the clip of everything working and powering on is going to come in chronological order here for the purpose of the video. But yeah, that's how everything looks. Everything all wired up, got the ground in place, everything's ready to power up. Now I did also do a test on the O2 sensor. You just follow the instructions that it has in the Innovate Motorsports manual for the gauge. You basically turn it on without it plugged in first, and then actually hold on. So yeah, there we have it guys. That's pretty much the overall process of how I installed the AFR portion of this Innovate Motorsports SCG-1 gauge. And take one more look at it. The only reason I don't have the car on, which is why it's not reading accurately, I don't have the car on. I've already run my errands for the day. He's parked behind me and he's resting right now, so I'm not gonna have him move the car for no reason. But obviously, guys who know, you know what the AFR is supposed to be. Obviously at idle you want it 14.7, or at least between 14.5 and 14.8, around that. Especially when you're tuned and everything, when you're under load, you want that going. When you're in A, you want it going down 13, maybe 12 at wide open throttle. And when you're boosted, you want that going anywhere from high 11s, even all the way down to high 10s. And have that enough fuel getting dumped in there so that catastrophic things do not happen. But anyways guys, again, thank you for being patient on this video. This is episode 3 with the gauge install. I got a couple more gauges that I'm going to be installing. I'm picking them up hopefully tomorrow, Saturday, and once I get the 3D printed gauge pod, the gauge pod, I'll go ahead and do an install on those as well. You guys feel free in the comments to guess which 2 gauges are going to be next, because there will be 2 of them coming. And we'll go ahead and we'll see you in the next one. Blessed be. Take care, guys.